All right, give us a little background on who Paul, just real quick.
Yeah.
Background, and then why we're making this video.
Paul Barresi, how I came into contact with Paul Barresi is about 2 years ago when I saw that this civil trial was happening and I saw that Johnny was suing Amber Heard. I knew I had to do something, and I knew I had to come forward. I've known Johnny to be a very violent man. I know other people who know Johnny to be a very violent man. We've seen him be abusive towards women. We've seen him be abusive towards men. We've seen him be abusive towards himself. I reached out to Richard Schwartz and Eric George, who were Amber's attorneys, and I identified myself. I told them who I was. I told them my background, and I gave them a statement about Johnny Depp. It was shortly after that when I was contacted by Paul Barresi through Facebook. And he came to me, he told me he was a private investigator that was working for Amber, and that he wanted to interview me about some of the things I've witnessed Johnny Depp do. I immediately thought this guy was weird because of some of the offhanded things he said about just some other situations. And I immediately contacted Richard Schwartz, Amber's attorney. I explained to him that this guy was crazy. I explained to him that this guy is not good. And I explained to him that this was a bad situation. I also told them that in the course of my conversations with Paul Barresi, he had told me verbally that he murdered Shalimar. Now, Shalimar was a transgendered prostitute. Shalimar was picked up by Eddie Murphy back in 1998 when Eddie Murphy was arrested. She was scheduled to testify against him. Paul Barresi went out to her location and he attempted to intimidate her to get her to recant her story. When she refused, she mysteriously fell off the roof of her building. Now, this building was in the Barrendo. It was on Barrendo Street, ironically in the Rampart district. He went on to tell me he did it. He told me he was hired by attorney Marty Singer out of Beverly Hills.
And also, he admitted to doing it on the Ed Opperman.
Yes, he was on a show called the Opperman Report where he spoke for probably about an hour, where he basically put it right out there that he is the person that killed this transgender prostitute. I reported this to Richard Schwartz, and Richard Schwartz said, don't worry about it. He's the best private investigator in Los Angeles. Just continue to work with him. At that time, I provided to Paul Barresi a list of other victims. Stacey Lee Lopez, Bruce Corkum. I gave him the names of other people that were abused by Johnny Depp. There was probably about 10 people on that list. Paul Barresi was supposed to contact these people to get them to make a statement. What Paul Barresi didn't do was get them to make a statement. He either paid or he threatened, intimidated every single witness that Amber Heard could have called in her case. When it finally got to the point where he saw that I wouldn't cooperate with him any further because he was mentally unstable, he tried to blackmail me. It's no secret that I have a criminal background. There's a sealed indictment that was filed against me many years ago. Paul Barresi had told me that he had a copy of my sealed indictment and he was going to make it public. At that point in time, he made a statement to me that he knows where my mother lives. And at that point in time is when I realized this guy was mentally unstable. He was threatening me. At one point, he tried to pay me to give false testimony. These threats from Paul Barresi have been nonstop for 2 years. It was only, about a month ago? I was sitting in a hotel room when my phone rang, and I answered it, and it was Paul Barresi. He thought I was somebody else. He thought I was a guy by the name of Mario when I picked up the phone. And he said, "Mario?" And I said, "Yeah." And he starts babbling on about the case and about this and the other thing. So as Mario, I said, "But what about Albertini?" Paul Barresi made the statement that, don't worry about Albertini, I'm going to put a bullet between his eyes. There was a witness in the room, Mr. Palomaros.
That's right. I was there.
I come to find out now that Paul Barresi has been working both sides of the fence. While he was employed by Amber's attorneys, he was also reporting back to Johnny's attorney, Adam Waldman. These threats have been nonstop. Probably a couple of days after he called this Mario to say he was going to put a bullet between my eyes, he showed up in Burbank at my ex-wife's house. This man is a menace. This man needs to stop. Did Johnny Depp hit Amber Heard? I don't know. I wasn't there. But we do live in the United States of America, and people do deserve a free trial, a fair trial, where they can call witnesses to corroborate their story. This just never happened. Any questions?
You got anything?
Talk a little bit about what happened that day when he called.
It was just him thinking that you were someone else, and he started making statements in regards to how he was going to put a bullet between your eyes.
Yes.
That was the main statement I heard. The other accomplishments, I don't remember the just of it, but yeah.
You know, it's really not fair to me. I was the first person, and this is all documented, I was the very, very first person that came forward for Amber Heard. I don't agree with Amber Heard's politics. I don't believe in most of what she believes. However, like I said, she deserves a fair trial, and she deserves to be free right now. She deserves to go on with her life. She does not need to withstand any further harassment or threats from Paul Barresi. He really needs to leave people alone. Paul, if you're listening, this is the last job you're ever going to have. We're not going to stop until you're prosecuted. We're not going to stop until there's a full investigation. And there's really nothing you could do to silence me.